Once you start noticing it, you can't unsee how often it happens around you. Think about the last time you saw a couple who just seemed to click from the first few minutes. Not the flashy ones who draw a crowd, but the quiet pair where the energy feels effortless. She's engaged, laughing softly at his dry comment. He's not leaning in desperately. He's present, grounded, like he's comfortable in his own skin and curious about hers. That comfort does something powerful. It creates safety without words. It signals that he's not there to win her over. He's simply showing up as himself. And in that space, attraction can bloom fast because there's no performance to maintain. Most men miss this entirely. They chase the surface stuff. Better openers, stronger eye contact, funnier stories. They push harder when the vibe feels off and the gap only widens. She senses the effort, the need for her approval, and something in her pulls back. Not because she's playing games, but because genuine attraction needs room to breathe. It thrives when there's emotional space instead of pressure. The guys who understand the unexpected thing give her that space naturally. They're not empty or distant, they're steady. They listen like the moment matters. They share pieces of themselves without forcing the spotlight. And suddenly she feels seen in a way that feels rare. This isn't about changing who you are. It's about dropping the weight of trying to be more. You've probably carried that weight longer than you realize. The quiet worry that being yourself might not be enough. The fear that real attraction only happens to other guys who got lucky with looks or luck. But here's what changes everything. When a man learns to show up with calm presence and light curiosity, something shifts inside him too. The tension in his chest loosens. He stops scanning her face for signs of approval. And in that freedom, he becomes more attractive without even realizing it. I remember hearing a story once about a regular guy named Alex. Nothing extraordinary on paper. Average height, steady job, the kind of person you might pass on the street without a second glance. He used to dread first dates. The small talk felt like an exam he was failing. Then he started paying attention to something different. Instead of filling every silence, he let a few linger. He asked questions that showed he was actually listening. When she shared something personal, he didn't rush to relate it back to himself. He just held the space. One woman later told her friends she felt an instant pull toward him, like she could finally drop her guard. It wasn't magic, it was natural, and it kept happening. That's the quiet power most men never tap into. Society tells us to be bold, to stand out, to make bold moves. But the attraction that feels instant and real often grows in the softer moments. The pause where you really see her. The easy smile that isn't calculated. The way you stay relaxed, even when the conversation turns deeper. It signals emotional strength. It tells her, without a single dramatic word, that you're safe to connect with. And women respond to that safety faster than almost anything else. But this is where everything changes. Because understanding why this one thing works opens the door to seeing it everywhere. In coffee shops, at parties, even in long relationships that suddenly feel fresh again. The guys who master it don't just get more attention. They build connections that feel deeper from the very beginning. They walk through life with a different kind of confidence, the kind that doesn't need constant proof. If this is hitting close to home, you're not alone. So many of us have spent years wondering what we're missing. The good news is, it's simpler than the world makes it seem. It's already inside you, waiting to come out naturally. If this resonated with you and you want to explore more about becoming the kind of man who naturally draws in real connection, hit subscribe to Lauren Couple Zone. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's one small moment where you've seen this kind of effortless attraction happen? Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. The truth is, attraction doesn't have to feel like a mystery you're always chasing. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply show up as yourself, in that calm, curious way that lets her feel instantly drawn in. And once you start living that, everything begins to shift. You think attraction happens because of the perfect line, the sharp outfit, or some bold move that sweeps her off her feet. But the strange thing is, the moments that hit her deepest often come from something quieter, something so natural it almost feels like it shouldn't work. She's standing there, conversation flowing, and suddenly her eyes soften in a way you rarely see. Her laugh comes easier. She leans in just a little, not because you chased her, but because something in you reached her without trying. Most men never notice when this shift happens. They're too busy performing, too focused on saying the right thing. They walk away wondering why the spark never caught. But for the guys who understand this one unexpected thing, those moments happen more often than they ever imagined. Picture this. You're at a small gathering, the kind where people are milling around with drinks in hand. There's a woman across the room you've noticed before. Warm smile, easy confidence. A couple of guys approach her, one cracking jokes a little too loud, the other complimenting her every few seconds. She smiles politely, nods, but her shoulders stay slightly tense. The energy feels forced, like everyone's playing a part. Then another man steps in. He doesn't dominate the space. He listens for a second longer than most would. When he speaks, his voice is calm, steady. He asks a simple question about something she just mentioned, not to impress, but because he genuinely wants to know. And just like that, something changes. Her posture relaxes. She turns toward him more fully. The conversation doesn't feel like an interview anymore. It feels alive. You've probably felt the opposite side of this. That heavy pressure when you're trying hard to connect and it still falls flat.